Your ego is this demon that has intimate knowledge of your desires and wants and needs, and it knows exactly what it is that you want. That ego will love you to death. Dave, let's debrief. What do you got?
The question was simply, how do you consistently check your ego? And not only is there a version of this that gets asked regularly, the connection to ego, I would say, sits in almost every question we get or every problem we get. There is a connection to ego inside there. There are so many examples of people that are in the game, people that believe in the power of humility, and people that believe in the power of extreme ownership and the principles they teach still run into trouble. And almost always, it's the ego that is the instigator of those problems.
That quote that your ego will love you to death is a permutation of a quote that I heard from a guy named Jay Adams, who was a skateboarder in the 70s, and he was the guy that gave skateboarding. You know, skateboarding has a rebellious attitude to it. At least a large portion of skateboarding has a rebellious attitude to it. He's kind of the guy, I guess maybe him and Tony Alva, that crew of guys are the guys that gave skateboarding sort of this rebellious attitude. He ended up having, a pretty rough run. Ended up, drugs, alcohol, prison, out of prison, back into prison. And he eventually became sober and went off drugs. But he was able to talk about this addiction. And that's what he said. That's what he said about drugs. He said, everybody loved drugs. No, what he said? He said something like, hey, it doesn't matter if you love drugs or not. Drugs love everyone, and they'll love you to death. He eventually did. He died of a heart attack while he was, sober at a pretty young age. I think he was maybe 50-something, 53, 54, something like that. But I just thought to myself, is that the fact that something can love you to death? And I immediately thought of, that's your ego. Because your ego loves you. Your ego absolutely loves you. And you said this statement, which is the right statement, but I need to think about how you said it. You said you want to hear what your ego has to say, which is true. You want to hear what your ego has to say. But that doesn't do it justice. That doesn't do it justice. Your ego is this demon that has intimate knowledge of your desires and wants and needs, and it knows exactly what it is that you want. And so you want to listen to that thing. So you want to hear that voice is an archangel to your brain, but it's really a demon. And that's why you have to watch out for it. And it's going to tell you all these things that it's not just that you want to hear them. It's beyond that. It's beyond that. It's a deeper want. And so that's why it's so tempting. And I'll tell you another thing. There's an attitude of, hey, if I say, you know what, that's my, if I admit it, then it's okay. Okay, so there's some things where in life, if you admit it, then it's almost like it's okay, right? And it's a horrible thing. Like I think Echo is the first person I heard this when someone says, I'm just direct with people, and therefore if I treat you like horribly, it's okay because I already told you that I'm direct and that's just the way it is. Yeah, or I'm just a straight shooter, so you just need to deal with it. And as if that makes it okay. Sometimes people do that with their ego where they say, I know this is just my ego, but this is what. And I'm here to tell you that does not make it okay. Just admitting that it's your ego that's driving your decision-making process doesn't make it okay. It doesn't make it okay. It still is a negative. And by the way, it's the same amount of negative, whether you hide it and I see that you're doing something for your ego or you are blatantly telling me about it. Either way, I know what you're doing and it's bad. So it's a that ego will love you to death. It's probably not a good time to waste leadership capital trying to jump up and yell, hey, pick me, pick me. It's a no-brainer who I'm gonna pick.